Okay, this is a YouTube video because I'm not totally convinced yet that Kaltura Media is working. All right, so rather than waste time with that, I'm going to do some YouTube videos for a while. And so this discussion this week, there's two, okay, is about language. All right, and I'd like to just share a few some little historical notes on language. All right, uh, let's point out first, okay, that the United States, right, has always been a multicultural country with many, many languages spoken. So let's go back, 500, 600 years ago, okay? Let's talk about the Native Americans that were here. I think I mentioned earlier that in Mexico, which by the way included all of California and that whole area of the Southwest, spoke 97 different languages, still does, okay, because of their indigenous people, that kind of a thing. So we had the Native Americans here, and there were millions of Native Americans, and they were divided up into tribes, and they many different languages they spoke. They weren't able to communicate with each other. They had so many different languages. Okay, so we have that background. Then we have the wave of Europeans coming over, the first contact, it's called, between the Europeans and the Native Americans, and some of the earliest, of course, were French. And there's still a lot of French remnants in the United States, and French is spoken. Okay, New Orleans, you can hear it because that's Creole. All right. And then you go up along the Mississippi River and you get into Illinois. Southern Illinois is very French. A little corner of Indiana is French. All right. You see a lot of French names throughout Indiana. La Fountain. All right. I used to live near La Fountain, right? La Fontaine. Okay. And you get things like that. So French was very prevalent in large parts of the United States and also up north in Maine, that kind of area. It's still prevalent. All right. Of course, then you had the British. All right. Well, they weren't British; they were English. Okay, at the time, big German population came over. They all spoke German, and of course, you had the Spanish coming up through Florida. All right, and into the South, and DeSoto, all those people you've studied. All right. So then later on, okay, so you have this early contact, colonization, that kind of thing. Then of course you have slavery, right? And so think about all the different languages in Africa, the slaves coming over, the Middle Passage and being imported in. So you had all those languages, all right? And then you had finally the beginning of industrialization in the country, and you had a lot of mining going on, and the miners, mine companies imported Welsh people from Wales, all right, which now is part of Great Britain, but at the time it was like an independent area, and they all spoke Welsh, didn't speak English, okay? And they were very involved in mining in Colorado and elsewhere. And you still go there today and you see a lot of remnants of the Welsh culture. And then the Chinese, of course, were brought over to build the western side of the Transcontinental Railroad. This was right at the time of the Civil War, slightly after that. So you get a lot of Chinese immigration. Then you have Irish immigration, a lot of Irish immigration. And they spoke Gaelic. All right, try that sometime for fun. And they came over to help build the canals for some reason, but all the canals are built by. So I used to live near LaGrow, Indiana, which is a very Irish area, and had an Irish Catholic church there. It's a canal town. They still have the locks. All right. So there's just a huge history of multi-languages in this country, in the United States. All right. And so the discussion question asks you, how do you feel when you hear somebody speak another language? Well, let me tell you this, that this is America. We have freedom. Okay. And then you get this line, well, they're not learning our language. They're not adapting our culture. That's not true. All right. The kids adapt. All right. And they want to adapt. It's called peer pressure. All right. So the children are adapting. So the generation as it grows older and their kids, they're adapting. So it doesn't hurt us to give everybody some time. Now, sure, you're always going to have enclaves. All right. You're going to always have older people that are going to gather together and not want to give up their language. But this is America, and people do have a right for freedom. Okay. So that's that point, in my opinion. Okay. And you're entitled to totally different opinions. I do not grade on your opinion. Always remember that. I grade on the depth of your opinion, how much detail, how much specifics and examples do you give. Okay. Don't forget, opinions are a dime a dozen. They're not worth much unless you can really kind of like the foundation, create a foundation for that opinion. Okay. So I think I'm rambling on long enough on that. So please take a look at this, and I'm going to go on and do another one in just a minute. And this.